Welcome back to Religion in the News. My guest today is Dr. Stephen Smith. He is a United Mission speaker. Welcome to the show, Dr. Steve.
Thank you, Carol. So good to be back again.
Now, you are familiar with Religion in the News. You've been on with us a couple of times. And just tell us a little bit about yourselves. You are formerly a Baptist minister. You've had your own church in different cities.
Yes,
but you have a very unique ministry. And right now, you're taking us to South Sudan. So just tell us a little bit about your past.
Yes, ma'am. I've been the dean of seminary here in Indianapolis. I've worked with the project in Israel now since 2005. I'm an ancient site researcher. Ancient languages is kind of my specialty in that area. And also working with United Missions. And United Missions has done work across the world, South Pacific, Eastern Europe, Philippines, Fiji, many countries, helping take medical supplies into those countries, usually medical supplies that have been donated from Yale University and local hospitals that are not usable here in America, but many countries would love to have the medical supplies that we throw away literally, and medical supplies, equipment, and also help with food and orphanages.
Now tell us why you're Dr. Steve. How do you get that title?
Well, I have two earned doctorates, PhD in education, and the doctor of ministry in the family and the home. And that's what I do.
Now, I know last year you brought us breaking news from Israel and what's going on, and I know things are moving every day there. Tell us what's going on with your research.
We have a lot of exciting things happening in Israel. As you know, there's a lot of political turmoil in Israel as well right now, and we're working through some of that. We still lead tour trips to Israel. We go to some of the most exciting sites, the newest archaeological discoveries. We're able to actually take people into those sites and see what God's doing in Israel.
Is it safe to go over there now?
Very safe. We would not take anybody into any area that was not completely safe. Safer there than here in America, I believe.
Now take us to South Sudan. I know George Clooney was very famous in the news recently for being arrested. Tell us about that, and I know you have connections with that story as well.
George Clooney was in South Sudan. Actually, a lot of people are not believing the oppression that's going on in South Sudan. So he actually hired private satellite footage, I understand, to document the attacks, document the killing from North Sudan in South Sudan, and then to take that information to the UN and to the American government, hopefully an effort to get some support, military support for Israel, or I'm sorry, for South Sudan, so they can be a free people and not oppressed.
Now, I know we have some photos that you brought with us today for us to view, and one of them is a Pulitzer Prize winning photo. Could you explain the photos for our viewers?
Sure. This is a quick PowerPoint that United Missions we put together because people say we have a lot of needs here at home, and we do have a lot of needs here at home in America. But why are we taking supplies and help to other countries in the world? There's things a lot of us as Americans don't understand. For one, the hunger issues. Actually, one of our team members witnessed people standing in food line for 2 days to get a bowl of rice.
Can you explain the photos for us as they come up?
Absolutely. This is a food line many people stand in for a long time just to get food. They're starving to death. There are 8.5 million people in South Sudan currently. 4 million of them, almost half of them, are refugees. They're Christian refugees. And the reason South Sudan is so oppressed because they're Christians. There's just not enough food. 1.3 million people will die this year of starvation in South Sudan. That's like the city of Dallas, Texas, starving to death this year alone. We also see in the second photo, we saw a child laying on the ground. We're working with an orphanage over there. They wanted to start an orphanage. They prepared to go in and house 150 children. And the government said, that's fine, but don't open your doors till you're willing to take in 1,000 children. You say the words, you have an orphanage, you will have 1,000 children literally on your doorstep that day. There are that many orphans. We see their educational system is nothing compared to ours. They're learning to write in the dirt. Only 34% of the indigenous people of South Sudan can say that they have been in a classroom one day in their life.
Now tell us about, you had one specific photo that you wanted to talk about.
Yes, the last photo, the next one, is Kevin Carter took this photo in South Sudan as a Pulitzer Prize winner. And
that's a little boy
is a little
with
boy
a vulture
crawling to a food shelter. He's still a little over half a mile away from the food shelter. In the background is a vulture waiting for him to die so the vulture can eat this little boy. Nobody knows where his parents are. The truth is nobody knows the end of the story, because once Kevin Carter took this photo, he had to leave the country. He could not deal with the starvation, the hunger that he had seen. And actually 3 months later, he committed suicide because he could not rationalize the hunger, the starvation, the oppression in South Sudan compared to what we have here in America.
Now, I want to call up, because I spoke with someone from South Sudan this week, an associate of yours, William Levy.
Yes, ma'am.
And in an interview, he had some comments for us. And I'm just going to read the first one that he stated, because it is so real in what's going on. The mission of Operation Nehemiah in South Sudan is to rebuild the biblical family and the church from the ashes of war, both spiritually and physically, through the preaching of the gospel, promoting sustainability and Christian entrepreneurship. Now, what exactly is it that our viewers can do to help with this hunger situation? Because he wanted to communicate that it is so serious.
Yes, number one is raise awareness, like George Clooney is trying to do. South Sudan, again, they're a brand new country. There was a civil war for 40 years in Sudan. South Sudan broke off, became its own country, and they're being oppressed because they are Christians.
Now, how can someone get a hold of you?
Through diggingdeep.info. Through my website, we can make sure if you want to donate money to help the hunger needs, we will make sure that the money gets there. We have many sources to make sure that money is distributed. Dr.
Steve, you are amazing, and we will look forward to hearing more about this. Back to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Carol. Good morning. I'm Jeffrey Payne. When we return, my guest talks about one bride, one garment. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Religion in the News. My guest today is Carmen Buchanan, and she's the author of the book titled One Bride, One Garment. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thank you for coming today, and please tell us about your book, One Bride, One Garment.
Well, my book is my vision of the church coming together as one bride, and what happens, individuals, we're all so important to one another, and we're weaved in as one bride, as if a garment is weaved in to make a bridal garment. So I give a reflection on a physical bridal gown and the spiritual bridal gown.
Yes, and looking at the book, it's almost like the way one prepares for a wedding, you know, the dress and the demeanor and all that's required of a bride prior to actually getting married.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So how would you make that comparison from a single bride to all of those who are in the body of Christ?
Well, for the single bride, the focus is mostly on the bride. We always wait for the bride to come down the aisle. Well, for the spiritual bride, the focus is really on the groom. But the importance of that gown, the wedding gown, is what I correlate with the importance of the children of God coming together, being one God, being one bride for God. And what happens is I have taken dispensations in the Bible, the patriarch dispensations, and the dispensation of the prophets and kings, and the grace dispensation, and they're weaved together. You have this embodiment of the gown, and then you have an inner skirt and an outer skirt. There's also a veil, and the veil, every piece of that garment represents individuals in the body of Christ. And what I hope to come out of this book is not only a teaching tool, but I also want people to see how very important we are one to another. I think about a wedding gown. If that bride wakes up that morning and there is a thread loose, she is having a fit.
Yes.
Because she wants that garment to be perfect, just like she bought it for that reason, or she had it made for that reason. And that's how we have to be with one another. If one of us is in a fault or going through something, we have to reach and touch. You are just as important as I am. And that's what I hope people will get. If we're powerful, we are beautiful when we act as one.
Outstanding. Now, what inspired you to actually pen this book? This is a lot of information, a lot of helpful information, but what inspired you to write this particular book?
I journal, so my morning journaling. And one day I was journaling and looked back through some of my writings, and I thought, oh my God, this sounds like it could be a book. And I've always liked to write, and so I thought, let's just see how it works, and just prayer,
Yes.
and people just encouraging me along the way, and bits and pieces that God would just give to me. And I was writing them, and sometimes it was almost scary because these things I didn't know, but God would take me to places into the Bible to confirm what He's spoken to me. And it's just God. It's my love for God and the Word.
That's amazing. Tell us about the publisher who helped you to get this all bound together and published.
Well, actually, I went through Lulu Publishing. It's a self-published book, but I wanted to do it. I had been accepted by some publishers, but I went this way because it was just too important for me not to get this book published and out.
Wonderful. Now, do you do any other projects besides writing books?
Well, at church, I like to write plays for the young people. Right now, we're in the midst of practicing for a Good Friday service that's going to we're going to start on Good Friday at 6 o'clock, and it's called The Power of the Cross.
Outstanding. So you're an author and a playwright now. That is great. Well, we're really hoping that everyone takes advantage of the opportunity to get this book. And we do have some contact information for you if you'd like to get in touch with her. Again, this is author Carmen Buchanan, One Bride, One Garment, and you can contact her at 317-274-0806. And again, we're really excited about having you on the program today and hoping that they get in touch with you. They can contact us once again, the book, One Bride, One Garment, and enjoy this great ministry in this book. Carmen, thank you once again for coming with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And we'll be right back with more right after this break.
Welcome back to Religion in the News. The Church Federation of Greater Indianapolis is celebrating its 100th year anniversary during 2012. Be sure to check out the dedication and the reception of the Centennial Art Gallery of History exhibit on May 10th at the Indiana Interchurch Center. For more information and for a list of celebration events, visit indyfaith.org. Thanks for joining us today on Religion in the News. Be sure to turn in next month as we have another exciting episode. You can share your upcoming event on our calendar by sending it to us at least 2 weeks in advance to the Wish TV address on the screen, or email your event and your prayer request to us at religion@wishtv.com. You can also check us out on Facebook under Religion in the News. Check out our guest information and calendar events this week by visiting wishtv.com, click on Community, and then on Religion in the News. Also visit the Church Federation of Greater Indianapolis' website at indyfaith.org. Here's our calendar. Have a great week.